Hi, and welcome to The Kate Show. With me today is actress Lauren Rifkin. How's it going, Lauren?
It's going great. Thanks, Kate.
All right. So recently we had Steve Rifkin on, who happens to be very close to you.
Absolutely.
And he showed us a picture of you guys in a costume contest together, dressed as Popeye and Olive Oil. So let's get that picture on the screen. Let's see it. There you guys are. Oh my gosh, that's adorable. Tell me about that costume.
Well, you know, that's my Popeye. He's my hero. Well, you know, we like to ham it up. So every year we go to Jeppy's Entertainment Museum to their cosplay party. And last year we went as Clark Kent and Superman. We're big superhero fans. So we noticed that they had a costume contest, and most of the costumes were homemade, and ours were not as original. So we decided we had to come up with a good scheme for this year to be able to have a good homemade costume. So Steve came up with the idea of Popeye and Olive Oil, and we looked at a ton of pictures online of what their costumes should look like. And then we hit all the thrift shops trying to find just the basics. So I just needed a red shirt and a black skirt to start with, and then he needed just the right shade of light blue jeans. And then he had a lot more faith in my seamstress abilities than I have, but we pulled it off. But he showed me how he wanted the collar, and we got just the right buttons, and I did as much sewing as I could.
Nice.
And then the muscles, he said, well, how am I going to do these muscles? How am I going to build them up? Oh, pantyhose.
Nice.
So we got a pair of pantyhose and stuffed them with filling, and then he drew the little anchor tattoo on them.
Oh, that is so cool.
And it was a lot of fun, and he's got the Popeye down, with the and he's got the corncob pipe, and so.
Those are great costumes. That's probably the best Popeye and Olive Oil costumes I've ever seen.
We had a really good time with it.
That's so cool. So you've been in a couple movies. What do you like about acting?
Well, I actually started acting when I was in, I think, middle school. I was in a theater group. Cool. It was called Menagerie when it started, and then it became Open Space Arts. And I'm actually, believe it or not, I'm kind of on the shy side. I'm not good in social situations with strangers. Put me in front of 100 or 200 kids, I'm fine. Put me in a room with 5 adults, I'm not. So acting, is a way to kind of escape that, and you're playing somebody else, and you're playing a different role, and you have, your set of lines, and you can just go anywhere you want with it and be anyone you want. So I really enjoyed that. So, of course, Steve is Steve Areno, and he's been involved in the films, for a while, and I was just really happy and honored when I was asked to become a part of it. So I do enjoy taking on those roles and challenges and stepping out of reality.
I'm really impressed with your acting ability, especially in Dangerous Deception, where you played Lolita, and the scene, your first scene in the movie, where you're coming down the aisle toward the Nyarlathotep monster, and it's all you see is tentacles dangling in front of the camera. Well, of course, I know that was just Alfred Guy, and he was dangling these tentacles in front of the camera, and it looked so silly. But you look terrified. I mean, you look genuinely terrified. How did you pull that off?
Well, Alfred's a scary guy. Just kidding. He's a teddy bear. He's a teddy bear. No, that whole role was way out of my comfort zone, but that made it more fun to play. So I did a lot of practicing in front of the mirror, practicing my reactions, practicing my lines in front of the mirror, and I've had a lot of practice with animated facial expressions being a teacher. So, I do dramatic reading to my kids all the time, and dramatic reading to my daughter Leia, so that helps too.
That's so cool. And Ready for Action, you had a very small part to start out. You were just in a scene which was basically just an inside joke. Steve Reno doing the spread for Churches Monthly. And you were a nun in that. But then you were asked to come back and play another character, which again, it was just one scene. But then you were so good that they expanded your role. Can you tell me about that, what that was like?
Well, that was a really fun character to play. That actually has been my favorite character. I was comfortable with the idea of it because of the title, The Nanny. I thought, well, you know, I'm a mom, I'm a teacher, I'm comfortable with kids. It's the perfect role.
But you had to be a bad nanny, though.
Right. Well, then I started reading the lines, and I thought, oh, you know what? I can be sarcastic. I can do sarcastic. So this will be fun. And I love the teased hair and the wild makeup.
Yeah. Well, the only reason that originally, because I did Lauren's hair in that movie, the only reason that I made it so big, I was like, well, she's just going to be in one scene. So we'll make her hair really big. And then when they said we're going to put her in another scene, I'm like, oh, wow, I'm going to have to do 40 minutes of hair again on her. But it was so worth it. I mean, especially your part at the end of the movie where you get so mad. You're like, guys, we're not even going to have jobs anymore. You're being ridiculous. That is the best. I mean, it just seems so real. But knowing who you are as a person, it's like, you're amazing. You've got such a gift.
Thank you. I don't think so, but thank you. That was also my first fight scene. And I heard that I had to be in a fight scene with Luana Lee, and I thought, sweet Luana, how can I fight sweet Luana? Luana was my daughter's first babysitter. You know?
Right, that's true. Oh
but it all worked out.
That's funny. So can you tell us the story about being on the set? Well, story time, right? Story time?
My favorite story is as the nanny, of course, in Ready for Action. And it was a scene that I had rehearsed by myself many times. And I had it pictured in my head, you know, exactly how it would go. And I knew how I planned to say the lines. And then I anticipated how Sam Lakowski, give him a shout out, how he would say his lines. And we came in and I expected there to be a rehearsal. And there wasn't a rehearsal. There was a bit of blocking. And then they said, well, let's run the scene. Ready, action. So I'm acting it out the way that it went in my head, and all of a sudden, Sam's hands are wrapped around my neck, and I'm being strangled.
Oh my.
So after the shock, I had two thoughts. One, oh my gosh, I'm going to have to change the way I say my next lines. I'm going to have to change it on the fly, because there's no way I can continue being a sarcastic, you know, wisecracker after I've just been strangled by this guy. Right. My second thought was, thank goodness Leia is facing the wall and is not seeing her mommy being strangled.
Yeah.
So I thought, okay, you know, we're good. Well, Jeff Herberger, cameraman extraordinaire, he was not prepared for the strangulation either. So we did have to stop and we had to reblock. So we're reblocking with Sam's hands around my neck. And Leia's looking at me like, Mommy? And
like, is this okay?
And I'm going, it's okay, honey. Mommy's fine. It's just pretend. See? I'm talking. I'm smiling. It's fine.
No. That went well.
I think you and I define went well a little differently.
You were listening?
Around here, Mr. Gallo, I'm the only one who is listening.
Right. I'll keep listening then. And watch the girl. Silently, yes?
As you wish.
So that was great. And that's definitely my most memorable experience. Even more than being sacrificed to an alien creature from outer space.
I know, right? That you're good, man. So speaking of different characters and stuff, there's a lot of recurring characters in the Lead Out Film Productions universe. What character of yours would you like to revisit and play again?
Definitely the nanny. I love the sarcasm of the character. I love the idea of the character. and she was just really fun to play.
You're so good as her too. Well, at the end of the movie, I think she gets arrested or something. Maybe ex-con Nanny. Maybe that's your next movie. Maybe.
Slinging the tin can against the bars.
That'd be so cool.
I'm out of here.
So, and what are some types of characters that you haven't yet played but you would like to give a shot?
That's a good question. I think I like the characters that step me out of my comfort zone, that allow me to act in a way that I wouldn't normally act. Because I'm, the pretty straight-laced,
right,
nice person teacher. So it's nice when I can step out of that.
Maybe you'd like to play a bad guy sometime?
That would be fun.
That would be interesting.
That would be fun.
I think you could pull that off. Well, I think that's all the time we have for this week. Thank you for being on the show, Lauren.
Thank you so much for having me.
We'll get you back again sometime.
Okay, great.
Yeah. And tune in, turn on Tuesdays, right here on The Kate Show. Thanks for tuning in this week. We'll see you next week. Bye.